Well, good evening and welcome to the Town Hall Get to Know broadcast. We want to say thank you and we appreciate the fact that you're joining us this evening. This is going to be as well a live interactive show. So if you do have some questions or you want to make a comment, we'll be seeing those that are coming from Facebook. We are looking forward to our special guest this evening. This has been coming for a little while now. We do have, in fact, Ray Collins. He is a local here in town in Sarasota. I'm just so honored to be able to have him with us tonight. He is an award winning journalist, by the way, and he's been in the media industry for over 30 years. He is a content creator and he helps other businesses and people tell their stories and ultimately enhance their profits with their business. Since 2009, Ray has produced dozens of videos. He's written more than 100 published articles and continues to help secure media attention for clients around the country. Ray is simply creating content and getting better internet search results for his clients. He's been on TV most every day for the last 30 years. The Florida Associated Press honored him with the award of an individual achievement for overall excellence. I've enjoyed watching him on the news. Most recently, he was the anchor in the morning show. We'll be talking about that here on ABC7. And it was nice to wake up to Ray. And so you're going to get a chance to meet him in just a few moments. I just want to tell you a little bit more about Ray. Very dynamic background. He's been very blessed as well to interview some of the most influential people in the universe, in my world. He is an award winning journalist, and he was born and raised actually in Buffalo. He is the youngest of six children, and his college, he went to St. Bonaventure University, and he was inducted into the campus radio station's Hall of Fame. He began as a DJ and a news anchor and a talk show host on the radio in New Jersey. And before heading south to one of the top radio stations in the country at News Radio 970 at WFLA in Tampa Bay, Ray anchored hourly news updates. He went further. He's done the morning show in Naples, down in Fort Myers. That's just south of us here, as well as he's been the correspondent for TV tennis on the Prime Network, covering pro tournaments of tennis right here in town and around the state. Uh, he's got such an extensive background. I don't want to tell you all about it because I'd love for him to share that with us as well. He is married, by the way. He has a beautiful wife that supports him in what they're doing. They live here in Sarasota. He stays active playing tennis. He loves tennis. We're going to be talking about that. He likes riding the bike, going to the beach, and traveling to resorts. And he writes reviews on the resorts that he visits. So that's really cool. Now, I want you to also know that he collaborated with the Center for Executive Coaching to co author the Image Consultant Training Manual. He continues to tutor political candidates, executives, and others with image and media skills. Ray has graduated from the Gulf Coast Leadership Institute and the Human Performance Institute for the Corporate Athlete Performance in Orlando. And without further ado, let's bring in Ray.
That's a heck of a buildup, Stephen. I'm nervous now. Thank you.
I'm the one that should be nervous, Ray.
No, hardly. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening, Ray. I've been really looking forward to this. This has been coming for a couple months, and we finally were able to come together on timing wise that worked for you. Thank you
Oh,
again.
yeah. We've been talking about this for a long time. So I was looking forward to this, and I'm honored to be on your program.
Well, thank you very much. We are honored as well. Uh, you've done so much, Ray. You've interviewed some of the greatest people around. We're going to be talking about that. Um, You've also done some investigative reporting. I do want to get around to your media stuff. We'll do that in a little bit, but I want to talk about your reporting. You did investigative reporting in the past. I'd like you to tell the viewers how you feel that that type of journalism is important.
That's a great question to start with. too often these days, because of budget cuts, newspapers and magazines and TV aren't taking the time to do in-depth investigations. And I think Thomas Jefferson gets quoted as attributed with the quote. He said something along the lines of, if I had to choose between government, between press and no government, or government and no press, I'd take the latter. I know I butchered that, but the point is
Mhm.
we need to have a good press to keep an eye on the government. If not, they'll run wild. And I've experienced a bit of that in Sarasota. When I worked in television, they weren't too prone, my bosses that is, to cover government issues too closely. I began covering government issues back in my 20s because I thought that was interesting. It was supposed to be a bad assignment, but I found it to be interesting. So fast forward to recent times, and I wanted to really cover what's going on at City Hall, but that's not what the bosses thought viewers wanted to see. They felt they wanted to see more interesting things in their minds, health and traffic and roads and safety, and leave the government to the newspapers. And
Hmm.
that was a shame because whenever I had a chance and was able to go cover government, I'd find out some things that were costing taxpayers lots of money. And it was a challenge to do investigations. I wasn't often given the time to do it. Usually, you had to conclude your stories within an 8-hour shift. And smaller TV stations wouldn't give you the luxury of spending more time on an investigation.
So, yeah, investigative reporting is different than just regular going out and just trying to, report on something that's happening at the time, right? There's a lot
Yeah,
of research
because
involved, huh?
I mean, 99% of the time, a reporter, let's take a daytime reporter, gets into work at 9 a.m. or 8:30 and tries to find something to cover that day, pitches a few ideas in the morning meeting, and normally around 10 o'clock or 10:30, they'll have their assignment and head out the door at 10:30. Well,
Mm.
they've got to be back to the station by 2:30 or 3 to start writing and editing that story to be on the air at 4, 5, and 6. So we're talking a 4-hour window to chase down stories and
Wow.
factor in driving and people not being available. And in defense of the reporters, you just can't get much in a 4-hour window each day. So there's no investigation going on for standard daily reporters. Larger stations and bigger markets do have the luxury of investigative departments that spend days on a particular issue. Those aren't as popular, though, as they used to be due to budget cuts. What's happened? Well,
Uh,
one thing, the internet, 1,000 TV channels, streaming services. And before you know it, TV news doesn't have the clout it had back in the 70s and 80s.
hmm, hmm. Yeah, I noticed that when I've seen reporters out lately, it's not like they have somebody that's doing the lights for them, holding the camera, doing the filming or the microphone. It's just a one person out there doing it all anymore, huh?
Oh, it's amazing. You're right, Stephen. When I first began as a reporter, there was a photographer or maybe a person that ran the live truck itself. And by my last few years in TV, it was just me out there. I'd have to turn the lens toward me and
Yeah.
frame myself and give an audio check. It was just me, a one-man band. And
Yeah.
several times I had people thinking I wasn't on the air, and they'd walk up and start talking to me. How could he
Oh.
be live on the air? He's by himself. Um, Furthermore, in the studio itself, when I first began, I sound like a caveman now. There was 3 camera persons, a floor director, a teleprompter person. At the end of my career in TV, it was just me and the weatherman. They ran everything robotically, and
Yeah.
it was amazing how the manpower was greatly reduced.
Well, I just have to say right now too, you said weatherman and my favorite guy there, Bob Harrigan. Well, they're all good there, but I love Bob. I was loving those behind the scenes with Bob when he was running Facebook, and then you're seeing the green screen and he's doing the news. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to work with John Scalzi
Yes,
in the morning,
in the
and
morning.
John is a real prince. I call him a Renaissance man because he's so well versed in the arts, and he's a foodie and wine. And John was a wonderful guy, and he's the one that first said to me, "You'd be great in real estate." And that's what I'm doing right now, full time. You read my resume nicely, and I am still doing video production and media training and travel writing. But primarily, I'm a realtor right now in Florida and Sarasota, and it's a real dynamic time for that because of the world events. A lot of people are moving.
They are. They're coming here, aren't they?
The numbers are astounding. They are. I've got two clients this week, well, a couple from Chicago, a couple from Connecticut, and they're both looking to move to Sarasota to, I think, and this is a larger macro topic, the pandemic has caused a lot of people to take a closer look at their lives and what they've accomplished, what they haven't accomplished, in some cases, making a move, making a change. And oftentimes it's to Florida.
Well, we have good weather, don't we here?
Yes, we do.
And
That's why I'm
the
from Buffalo. I'm
hurricanes
here.
seem to avoid Sarasota, and so we're so lucky that way, right?
Well, one of the thousands of reasons I love Sarasota is because most people aren't from here. They've chosen to be here. Oftentimes, they're reinventing themselves into a better version of themselves. And before you know it, you've got a relatively uh, upbeat populace.
Hmm.
Whereas sometimes you go up north and you see people that have only lived there, would like to live someplace else, don't have the guts to move or the ability to. But down here in Sarasota, we get the kind of person that was more entrepreneurial and not afraid to pick up and come down here and start over. And that creates a more interesting environment, I think.
Hmm. Hmm. I love Sarasota. I've been here since 2000, and I've seen it grow. And I've also noticed that the traffic has picked up, and that there's a lot of action taking place out there. And as a matter of fact, and I wanted to say this is that interestingly enough, today when I was out on my day job, apparently you walked by right where we were at down the street with some clients. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think of the name of that street that we were on. It's down around the corner here, but I can't. Apparently,
Talking downtown Sarasota or up Bay
no, no,
Vista
it was out in the neighborhood here. Where was I?
in Central Park too.
No, it wasn't Central Park. No, um, at least I wasn't right there. I didn't see you personally. The person I was with saw you.
Okay, well, good.
But
Yes, I was out and about.
but
True story.
yeah, that is awesome, and real estate is certainly, I think, a really good business to be involved. But as well, you're a content creator too, and you're helping businesses, and you're getting exposure for them in a big way, and on the internet as well as social media. Maybe you can tell the viewers about that. You started a media company back, I believe, in 2009. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Then that's true.
Hmm.
Um, these days, to get some content on the internet can mean so much. And having spent 35 years full time in the media, I've accrued a bit of an answer key in my head as to exactly how you can get media coverage and media attention. There's certain days of the week, certain times of the day uh, to call or try to contact. So yeah, I get hired by companies to teach them how to approach the media. And now I'll also, for example, I write articles about various companies, get it published, and somebody in Buffalo punches up Sarasota tennis academies, and they'll
Hmm.
see my article or my video. It might get just as much coverage or play as a major publication or a network would get.
Wow.
It's so we have that access now. So getting content on the internet can make all the difference for a company, and I have the ability to do that.
And with COVID-19, things have changed, and technology's playing such a bigger part. We're able to do it virtually now. And so it really is a good idea to be on the internet if you've got a business or a service, product or a service, I should say, that you're trying to get out there and make people aware of.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, there's a bathroom refinishing company that reached out to me not too long ago and asked for a video. And now, when
We'll get
somebody in
into that
Sarasota
later. Yeah.
when somebody in Sarasota punches up bathroom refinishing,
Yeah.
Google recognizes videos and it populates to the surface quicker. So yeah, having a video in your toolbox as a business is
Yes.
a great investment.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is a great investment, and we've got something to show the viewers here. Do we want to go to that right now? Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk about that for half a moment.
Okay.
We let our bathtub go too long. It had rust in it, it had deep pitting in it, there were chips. I, quite frankly, thought it was unrepairable.
Total Coatings is a family-owned and operated bathtub and shower refinishing company. We've been around since 2006, but we use a exclusive non-toxic porcelain coating that was developed over 60 years ago by a franchise in California. So the product is very well established. We refinish bathtubs, showers, wall tile, countertops, and even sinks. Customers want to know what makes our product different, and that's, of course, the exclusive non-toxic porcelain. We also don't acid etch the surface, so you don't have to leave your home because of noxious fumes.
I was completely and utterly shocked. It looked like a brand new bathtub. I would recommend Total Coatings to anybody.
Awesome. So, folks, Ray made that commercial for our family business, Total Coatings. Thank you.
And
Ray.
I couldn't use my voice because I was on TV full time with a non-compete. So I couldn't use my voice. I used
Thank you to your lovely wife.
I had my prettier half as the testimonial, and also Jody Smith, who you know very well.
I do.
They were the testimonials, the speakers, and I didn't have to use my voice and break my contract. But yeah, that's full disclosure. That's how you and I first became acquainted. I used your family business, and I was a bachelor for 50 years, and I met my beautiful bride, and that's when I had her move into my bachelor pad, and she said, "We got to fix that bathtub right away." I might have let it gone too far.
That's so awesome.
I'm glad you like my work.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Randy, very good. Yeah.
That's so awesome. And yes, what a high quality commercial as well. We certainly appreciate it. And yes, it certainly helped the rankings for Total Coatings. And that's why they get a tremendous amount of traffic on the internet as well. So yes, thank you very much. So what we want to do is let people know why doing things like that, why a company would want to use technology, create a commercial or create shorts or something to expose their identity and generate some sales, right?
Well, anytime people are looking for a company for something they need, they no longer can go to a phone book. They go to their computer and or phone and Google the concern, the question. And again, when a business has more options on there, a video, an article, there's more of a chance that that consumer would find the company. So again, in case some of your viewers just joined us, I spent 35 years in the media, and I don't do a lot of things well. I don't cook very well. A number of things I can't do, but what I can do is communicate, and I'm able to break through the din of all the options and get consumers to notice various companies, whether it be with a good video or an article or photos. But yeah, so thank you for the opportunity to talk about Ray Collins Media tonight.
Yes, I believe in your media company as well, and I'm trying to get more familiar with all the things, the capabilities that you have, and they're very diverse. How do you feel that you're able then to take a company that's looking to step it up and level up to that next level? I think
Well, something else another method that I use is for example, if I have a client who is a financial advisor. Sounds kind of dry, right? Well, if there's something in the news about Wall Street or something, I will call a TV station and say, you know, it might help you to do a story about that national issue. We can localize that issue. I've got an expert who I can have in your lobby in 20 minutes. Are you interested? I said, yeah, please. I call my client and say, head over to such and such TV station. They want to talk to you. It's so easy once you get the formula.
Yes. And that's what we want to do is get on TV. Now, this is, of course, we want to thank our viewers too that happen to be watching tonight on Roku or Amazon Fire, Android or Apple TV. We certainly appreciate you. Make sure that you know that if you do have a smart TV, you can watch us on those channels, Roku, Apple, Android, as well as Amazon Fire, by downloading the E360 TV application to your smart TV. You can watch us there. All of the past episodes are there. We're under the positive vibrations category, as a matter of fact. You can see these town hall get-to-knows, like we've got Ray this evening. You can also see all the other guests that we've had, and we've had some really great guests. I just am very excited to be able to have Ray with us tonight. You had a question there?
No
Randy?
questions.
Okay, all right.
You guys are doing fine.
Oh, okay. It looked like you wanted to say something there. So I'll say something. I'll say thank you to all the viewers. We really appreciate you tonight. Remember, if you're watching on Facebook, share this video out to your friends. Share it to the groups that you belong to. You can also watch this on YouTube as well as our website, the LWN Live with Nature Foundation. And that's what this show is about. The town hall is about talking with people that are influential and making a positive impact in their communities, which you're doing, Ray. I want to talk about some of the assignments that you've done in the past, because you've done some dynamic stuff. I think one of the big ones was, well, I've got two here that I wanted to mention. Of course, the RNC, you were reporting from the RNC, and most recently reporting from New York with a local hero, Nick Wallenda, who we would love to have on our show one of these days, as a matter of fact. But
I can help with that.
Yeah,
I can help with that. Yeah.
can you? See, there
Yeah.
we are. Would love to have Nick. If you don't know who Nick Wallenda is, folks, the Wallenda family are high wire artists. They've been in that business all their life. He was walking the wire up there in New York. Tell us about these dynamic interviews that you've been able to do.
Well, you mentioned two very different assignments. You mentioned the Republican National Convention I covered in Cleveland back in 2016. And that was fascinating, exhilarating, and grueling to get up each day at 6:30 and leave the hotel and drive into Cleveland, because most of the hotels were booked in downtown, so we had to stay half an hour away, and then work all day long back around midnight. And I had to feed other stations as well besides the station I was working for in Sarasota. It had two other sister stations, so each newscast I was reporting live in Tampa and Huntsville, Alabama, and Tallahassee, Florida, and that was me on the floor of the convention. That's where the Cleveland Cavaliers play, and that's where President Trump accepted the nomination. And I was there the entire week. It was a very interesting week to watch democracy at its roots like that. So that was a memorable experience. And then you also referenced going to New York last year. June of 2019, I was sent to cover Nick Wallenda, who I've known for about 10 years. We've become good friends. He was very helpful for me in my recent campaign. We'll talk more about that later. But I was sent up to New York, and he was very helpful. He again, if you don't know, he crossed over Times Square on a wire going toward his sister, and then stepping over her, and they went their separate directions from Times Square 1 to Times Square 2, the name of two buildings there in that area of Midtown Manhattan. So I was just there for a few days, reporting around the clock again. But it's fun. I mean, those are the experiences that you never forget. done that a dozen times in my career where I've gone somewhere and had to forget about sleep and just do these experiences. It was funny, on the final day of the Nick Walenda coverage, I was live in Times Square at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., just looking inside the window at Good Morning America. I could see all the anchors as I was doing my local hits back to Sarasota. Got on an airplane and came back, and I was on the evening news live in Sarasota. So that was a day that I was live in two different parts of the country. That was interesting. So yeah, you referenced two good ones, but people often ask me what were my favorite assignments. I've met 100 celebrities, names that you'd know, presidents on down. But the stories that I enjoyed the most were covering the unsung heroes in our community, those that were really prevailing despite a bad deal for them. I did a weekly franchise in Buffalo back in the 90s called Rays of Hope, where I honored unsung heroes. That's the kind of thing I really like doing. A couple years ago, I would surprise a teacher each month and bring in an oversized check to her or him. And that was fun to do that, to honor those who day in and day out go the extra mile for somebody else. And that was the fun part of broadcasting and reporting, to do something that made a difference. And that's one thing I really miss.
That's I'm really glad that you shared that. It certainly was one of my questions. I wanted to know what the most interesting was. And so now we do know. That is really powerful. And it is those people there, and that's what this show is about too, is the people that are making that positive difference. And so you're very community oriented. I've recognized that way. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, don't thank me for that. But no, I mean, I went to a smaller high school. I went to a smaller college. I tend to gravitate towards smaller communities because you have more of an opportunity to make a difference. And also, I enjoy walking down Main Street and knowing every fifth person. You know, you don't have that ability in a bigger city. So I've had opportunities to move to bigger cities to get back on TV, but I love Sarasota, the quality of life, the weather, the economy, everything about Sarasota I really enjoy. So when I was approached by the Republican Party to run for a county-wide office, my first response was no. And then I thought it over and realized this is my first chance to do something like this, because for 35 years I couldn't reveal my political viewpoint. And I was told if I ran for the Charter Review Board, which I'll tell you about more in a minute, there would be no other opponents running. So I said, sure, I'll do that. Well, it turned out that there was a mix-up, that the incumbent for that position was going to run, and two others also ran for that position. So in the Republican primary in August, I had three opponents. In fact, the newspaper endorsed the incumbent and even went as far as to say that Ray Collins has the least experience of the four candidates. So I said to my prettier half, I wish I never had done this. I would pay money to get my name off the ballot at this point. This is going to be embarrassing. And it turned out that I won in a landslide, twice of their vote count. And Aaron said, you didn't embarrass yourself, you embarrassed them. So that was there.
And I do want to say congratulations, because you are newly elected to the Sarasota County Review Board.
Charter Review Board.
The Charter Review Board. So
I have a question.
Is it about the Charter Review Board?
Yeah.
Good.
Ray?
Yes.
I saw the story about your one sign that you had printed that was confiscated. Can you tell us about that?
Gladly. You know, when I began running for office, I was offered contributions, and I thought, I don't want to do that, because then I'm beholden to somebody who wants me to vote in a certain direction. So I didn't want to take any money. And secondly, because if I took any money, I'd have to file all kinds of forms. I'm not good at doing forms. So for those two reasons, I didn't want to do that. So around that time, a friend of mine said, hey, I'm glad to hear you're running for that office. If you want to put a sign on my high-profile front lawn, and he did have a high-profile front lawn, you're welcome to. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I will buy one sign and put it on my friend Bill's front lawn, because he had a high-profile lawn there on near downtown Sarasota, where a lot of traffic lines up for red light. So I called the sign company and said, how much is one sign? They said, we don't do one sign. I said, I know you don't, but just pretend. If I wanted to buy one sign, how much would it be? A lot of money. How much would it be? They said about $65.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll do one sign because, keep in mind my background in the media. I thought I'll get one sign, put it in the high profile lawn, and then I'll take a picture of it and put it on Facebook and Instagram and exploit the heck out of that one sign.
Right.
Well, the punchline is luckily I took plenty of pictures before it disappeared the next day.
Oh.
Should I continue?
Yes.
Please.
No. I think we know, right? Tell us.
Okay, I'll stop.
No, I know.
We do want to know the rest of the story.
It's the city of Sarasota confiscated the sign because it was too close to the curb. So rather than say, hey, Ray, come get your sign or set it aside, they shredded it and took it to the landfill immediately.
God.
So I called the newspaper. Again, I've got a background in media and know how to get coverage. And I told the exact same story I told you, and they were all over it. It was the front of their website the next day. And I wound up getting a lot more support and voters because of that stolen sign. That if
did you buy a lot more signs?
No, I didn't. I was offered money, but I didn't want to take any contributions, and I didn't want to have to file a paperwork.
Yeah.
So that's the short version.
Man.
I also think I'm not a grassy knoll kind of person, but I kind of think that my sign was targeted because I did cover City Hall very closely during my time in the media. And I did some investigations, and there was even a commissioner who I put on TV quite a bit, which she didn't appreciate, who walks her dog right by where that sign was. So I think I know. I think I know where that sign actually went.
Might know
True story.
Who made that phone call?
But we're not throwing arrows.
No names.
That's really good. That's a great story there, Ray.
It's true.
I'll tell you. But yes, in fact, we are proud. Now, tell us about what this Charter Review Board does for Sarasota. Then,
well, I can give you two versions because I knew you'd ask me that question. I'll tell you the official version, and then I'll tell you my version. The Charter Review Board reviews and proposes changes to the county charter or constitution, which are then put to a referendum for the voters. So in other words, anytime you're voting on a local issue at the ballot box, that often begins at the Charter Review Board level, where a group of citizens says, hey, we think that this should be part of our county charter or constitution. And the Charter Review Board decides whether or not it should go to the next level. So that's in kind of layman's terms. And when one of the hottest issues that came across was a couple of years ago, the issue of single member districts. And what that means is, there's 5 districts in Sarasota County. And so you wonder, should we be voting here in northern Sarasota on who the commissioner is in southern Sarasota? Well, a majority of voters said, no, let's have every community within the county vote on their own commissioner and not cross-pollinate. That was the final vote. There are others who think if we start doing that, in which we are not doing that, it will cause gridlock like we have in Congress. Well, everyone is trying to look out for their own particular district and not a community-wide, county-wide approach. Does that make sense at all?
Makes sense.
It does make sense.
Completely.
Yes.
Okay.
Good point. That's
an issue that's still being discussed, despite the voters having made a decision 2 years ago.
Well, that's excellent. I'm really proud of the fact that you're getting involved, and that's one of the things that I decided to do too, is get involved in the community because our community is important. All right. Thank you for sharing that part with us. That's really important. I want to maybe back up a little bit, but this is really current event as well. The fact is that you were involved in the reserves in the Air Force, and so you did serve our country. And
No, I didn't.
tell it. What did I not read it correctly?
I think you must have glossed over that too quickly. I do not have that honor. I traveled with the Air Force Reserves to Honduras to cover Hurricane Mitch in 80 and 98. I also traveled to Washington with the honor flight. Are you aware of that? That they bring veterans to the World War II memorial. A full day. They leave from the airport, and fly up and fly back in the same day, and let these wonderful veterans see the memorials in Washington. I covered the honor flight a few years ago, and that was a real honor to cover that whole franchise.
So I just have to say about myself and share is that this is where, and I've been saying this for a bit, paying attention to all the details is super important.
It's all right. I'm glad we clarified that.
Yeah, I'm glad we did too. Okay, I'm getting pressured. All right, we want to know about this picture. It's quite the picture of you. Tell us about the story that goes behind.
I can guess already what it's going. Oh, it's not. I thought you were. That's not. That's that was when President Obama came to MacDill Air Force Base, 2014, or no, maybe 2015 or 16 for that matter. I'm not sure what year it was, but I do know that I had a bad back and I had back surgery about 2 weeks later. I recall that. But I've covered almost every president. I covered President Reagan as an intern in college. I've covered and I've met several presidents. I've met President Trump and talked to him twice. But my point is, when you cover presidents, it's not nearly as glamorous as you think because you're usually kept at quite a distance. And the idea of getting something separate from the 19 people around you is not possible. So it's fun, but usually it's a lot of hurry up and wait. When I met President Trump, the first time was 2015 when he came to Van Wezel.
Yes.
Previous time was 20 years earlier. We met in New York at a theater. And if we have time, or if you want to hear it now, I'll tell you about my 2 conversations with President Trump.
We're going to stay away from politics.
Oh, fair enough.
Well,
they're actually
politics, but if you would like to tell us about,
I'd love to hear it at some other time, though, Ray.
Yeah, no, it's not a pro or anti story. It's just down the middle, but
because he is in the news.
I have heard his name since I've met him. Yeah.
Yes. So let's
okay, and again, this is not pro or anti because you remind me this is not a political program.
Yes.
I was in New York with my then girlfriend back in the 90s to watch a Broadway play. And while I was waiting outside the restrooms for her to emerge, Donald Trump came up and stood next to me. His date went in the restroom as well. We stood side by side. And at that point, I was a news anchor in Buffalo. And I looked over at him and I realized that he had a project pending in Buffalo involving a casino. So, not being shy. And I said to him, they like your project in Buffalo. He said, oh, yeah? What do you know? I said, well, I know that they're looking for more jobs there. And I think they probably would like to have your project there. So it might get a good shake. He said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a TV news anchor. He said, you look like one. I said, thanks. And our respective dates came out and we walked in the theater and we sat side by side practically. And on the way back out afterwards, I said, how'd you like the show? He said, oh, good. I like the show a lot. I've seen it before. I said, listen, I'm in town for the weekend here in New York. I do a lot of media training on the side. If you want to have breakfast tomorrow, I can pass along some media training tips. And he said, I'm playing golf tomorrow, but I like your style. And that was the end of it. Fast forward 20 years to Sarasota. He came to town and I was about to interview him. And I said, Mr. Trump, you and I have actually met before. He said, oh, yeah, where? And I said, I told him the exact same story I just told you folks.
Yes.
And you said, I can't have breakfast, but I like your style. And he looked at me and he said, you haven't changed a bit. I still like your style.
Hey, quick question, Ray. Was that an Andrew Lloyd Webber production?
As a matter of fact, that's a very good guess. How did you guess that? You're right.
Because I'm a huge Phantom of the Opera fan.
That's exactly who it was, right? How did you guess that?
Mm-hmm.
She may not
Oh,
remember
yeah.
me,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I
That's the
remember
point of
her.
it.
Good
That's
show.
really
Hey,
awesome.
have
Go
you
ahead.
seen Hamilton yet?
No, I have not.
My advice to you is to spend $10 and get Disney Plus. Watch Hamilton 30 times in a row and then cancel it. And it's a very well written, clever musical.
Hey, while I have it, should I watch The Mandalorian?
You don't have to. We tried to watch other movies on Disney Plus that month we had it, but there wasn't a lot for adults.
No.
Yeah. So that's my advice.
That's
Well, thank you. That's great advice.
sounds like great advice. Exactly. I agree 100%.
Okay.
And I love Disney, so shoot, that won't be. I might end up with the Disney Channel permanently.
Yeah, good idea.
I saw
There's
it
worse
for
things.
$99 the other day.
Okay. You graduated from the Gulf Coast Leadership Academy. I'd like you to talk about that. I'd like you to share about leadership because I think that that's an important factor here. Really, what we're also talking about from the aspect of giving good guidance to potential people that are trying to up their game and them have the opportunity to be able to reach out to you. Tell us about what does a good leader mean to you, Ray?
Yeah, I'm looking up at the diploma on the wall here, Gulf Coast Leadership Institute, July of 2011. That's a wonderful program, put on by the Gulf Coast Community Foundation, and it's still ongoing every year. They reach out to community leaders, and it's a weekly or a monthly class about various topics. And one of the best byproducts for me was I met about 29 new friends in that program. And after you kind of bond over time. So I really enjoyed that, but that's not the point of your question. I guess to answer your question, I'm going to digress and tell you another quick anecdote.
Okay.
When I was going to college, I went to a smaller college in upstate New York, and I found that I wasn't getting what I needed out of the curriculum. I wanted to be a TV broadcaster, but I chose a college that didn't have many TV facilities yet. I wanted to stay close to home. I went to Washington, D.C., the American University, and I was among a higher caliber of 20-year-olds. Suddenly, it was okay to be well dressed and be polite and be articulate. It wasn't a matter of. I'm not going to put down any other facility I attended, but my point is, I saw firsthand that you can put in as much as you want into this world or not. That you can be that person. You can raise your game. Another thing is when I met Erin, my prettier half, in 2013, she made me a better person. I wanted to be a better partner for her. And we just have the ability on a daily basis. This isn't breaking news. This is nothing you haven't heard before. We have the ability every day to make better decisions and better actions. To quote Tony Robbins, the past does not equal the future. Just because you haven't done something before or haven't been good at something before doesn't mean you can't start doing it now. I mean, totally ripping him off. This is his mantra, not mine. But I first started listening to Tony Robbins back in 1991. I recall the moment. And I really believe that we can be the authors of our own lives. We can take away, we can leave an experience and say that was a positive thing or a negative thing. We have an ability on an hourly, a minute by minute basis to try to find the good in everything we do and everybody we meet. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we have negative experiences in life, but try to find something that whole experience taught you. So I don't mean to preach here from a scroll, but hopefully, the larger expression is we can't control the wind, but we can control the sails. We can approach events and decide how we want to react and what we want to take away. And you know that other cliche, thoughts become words and words become actions and actions become patterns and legacies. So, and as we all age here, and we're on the back nine in some cases.
Yeah.
I'm 57 years old now. So if not now, when?
You're right.
What kind of reputation, what kind of legacy do you want to have? This is it. So, I didn't intend to get into this kind of line of conversation. I don't want to sound like I'm a motivational speaker.
No,
But just
But you are.
well, I honor those that can do it. I would love to do it someday, but I do think that our decisions, we are a result of our decisions.
yes.
Absolutely.
Did we stay too long in a relationship? Did we stay too long in a job? Did we stay too long at a party? We are the result of our decisions on a daily basis. Take responsibility for your actions
And choices.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's. I'm glad that you talked about that, because it's right in line of really what the LWN is. It is about taking action. It's everybody can have some thoughts and we can have some dreams, but if we don't take action on this stuff
Right.
and we don't do something about it,
Yeah.
nothing's
It's
going to
because I-
happen. Nothing will change. And today is an opportunity, even though COVID-19 has brought some difficult challenges. Those challenges are the opportunity to really turn it around and do something dynamic. And that's another reason why I wanted you on here tonight, because I think that you have such great advice to give people, and then the talent to be able to back that up, to be able to help people step up their game, and then show that you can be a part of the community as well. All of those admirable traits. Thank you so very much for those.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
It's easier than people think. You can be the author of your own life. Nobody else is in charge.
That's true. We are in charge of our life, and what we think is what we are. I 100% agree with that. And so I am glad that you talked about that, because in the end, that really is true leadership, of taking action, of being that leader, of telling people that they do have the opportunity to do something, and the time is now. Get up.
Yeah.
Let's do something about it. Let's take it to the next level. Let's do something different. Let's challenge ourselves.
Yeah. You know when you're around leaders, they're the kind of people that reach down and pick up a gum wrapper off the sidewalk when you're about to, when you're around great people, you feel it. It's a difference. It's a different feeling. I like to study success and study greatness, and I think you can spot a great person a mile away, and there's no reason why we can't be those people also.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. We can be anybody that happens to see this program. That's your possibility too.
Sure.
And
I would love to hear from some of your viewers. I know you've been kind enough to show my website, but if anyone wants to write to me, it's raycollinsmedia@gmail.com, and I'll write back. If you're going through something or whatever, let me know, and I'll be happy to send you back some positive words of encouragement.
so it's the same here as the website. It's just at gmail.com, folks. So just write out and send Ray a message. He'd be more than happy to help you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ray, for that. That's so awesome. I don't know if we had any comments or anything that we wanted to address. I wasn't really paying attention to comments tonight, but I did want to say thank you to everybody that's been taking time to come and listen to us. There's some great information in here. It helps you to get to know Ray as a person and Ray as a community-minded person. He is working for our community now here in Sarasota, which we're very proud that he is. We've got a few minutes left here, about 7 or 8 minutes. Ray, I'd just love for you to be able to share with people about what you're doing with the media company and how you feel that you can take them to the next level. Just share with us your thoughts there.
Well, sure. One of the interesting things I'm doing now is also real estate. And you might wonder, how does that play into the media? Well, what I'm doing now, it's kind of fun, is when somebody contacts me to help sell their home, I'm able to do a video for them and at a level that most realtors who didn't spend 35 years in TV news can't do. So I was recently featured in Florida Realtor magazine as the former TV news anchor, now selling, and I've sold nearly $2 million in property in my first year. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's exciting. You know, when you have a background in communications, it can play to an advantage across the board, whether it be better emails or better meetings, better whatever communication abilities. But you know, I would just suggest anybody watching out there that wants to improve their own communication abilities, you know, study success and see how those you admire do it. I find, I'm not sure about you, Stephen, that a lot of people can be very long-winded these days. That, you know, I saw a guy today at the drugstore who just monopolized the conversation for 10 minutes. A conversation is a dialogue, not a monologue. And if you are one of those people that doesn't listen as well as you talk, take a step back and don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm talking now about overall communication abilities. That's how we segued toward this. So be a good communicator in your lives, and that can all. I'm not sure what you all do for livings out there who are watching this right now, but chances are, if you become a better listener and don't monopolize conversations as much, you might have success that follows. I think that's a real habit that people should develop, is the ability to listen, ask questions. You know, back, this is kind of a sidebar, but back in my single days, and I was single for a long time, I used to love going on dates because I love hearing about people. I wasn't nervous going into dates. I couldn't wait to hear somebody's story. You know, we'd sit down and so tell me what makes you tick, and why'd you get into that profession? And you know, that's not just on dates, but with anybody. You know, find out what makes people tick. I'm fascinated to hear people's stories. I do an annual event for the Pines of Sarasota. It's a senior facility here on Orange Avenue. And I'm the moderator of this event called Wit and Wisdom. We did it last week, virtually, in fact. In previous years, it's a big ballroom full of people. And each year, I interview 3 separate success stories. Maybe it's Paul Azinger, who lives here, the golf pro, or Dickie Smothers, the Smothers brothers, who lives here, or Dick Vitale, or Nick Bollettieri, some big names who all live here. I'd love to find out what people did to become successful, because more often than not, it involves a sacrifice along the way that they did. They didn't take the easy way out. It usually involves making a decision that was really against the grain, something you didn't want to do. Not to pat myself on the back, but back when I was in college, I knew already I wanted to be a newscaster. I knew since I was 12 years old, I wanted to be a newscaster. So when I was at these college parties, having a grand old time, the last thing in the world I wanted to do was leave a party. But nobody else would disc jockey at the campus radio station. So I thought, here's my chance to get more practice in. So I was the guy that was drinking Diet Coke at the parties and leaving at 9:45 and going to be a disc jockey on the campus radio station from 10 until 1 a.m., only to get more experience on the air. It was hard. It's hard to leave those parties and all my friends. But the moral of the story is, people that achieve any kind of success, and I'm not saying I'm that successful, I'm saying it often takes a sacrifice in doing things that most people wouldn't do and don't want to do. No.
Right. You have to be willing to give up a little bit to get somewhere. And it's not easy. You talked about that it is a chore. It's a lot of work, you know, but then the work pays off in the end. You know, you have really done a lot of great stuff. I do want to hit on the fact that you are heavily involved from the sportscasting side of it, I believe. But tennis is a big deal to you, and so that personal time is important as well, right?
Yeah, Aaron and I play tennis on the court. We live in a nice townhouse complex. We play all the time. Now, you're showing a picture right now that I've got to talk about. I'm hitting a shot against the #1 tennis player in the world, Novak Djokovic.
Behind your back.
Yeah, I'm a travel writer, And when I was in Key Biscayne near Miami, I was asked to, I was doing a story about the Ritz-Carlton. They said, hey, we've got an exhibition. Do you want to play 1 point against the pros? I said, well, coincidentally, I do play tennis. I was on my college team. I was a country club tennis pro during college in the summers. And yeah, I'd love to. So these pros were taking it really easy on me, not knowing I ever held a racket before. So during a long rally of about 20 or 25 hits, we were all at the net. That's Andy Murray to my left.
Wow.
I hit the ball behind my back just over Novak Djokovic's head in the court. I was hoping just to make contact. It went the right trajectory, and I won the point. And Andy Murray gave me a high five and said, good shot, mate. And I said to Novak Djokovic, I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that to you. And he said, good shot. And luckily, it was on video, or else nobody would believe it ever happened. And if you want to look at it, it's the video is under Ray Collins' trick shot. And you'll see it on YouTube.
You got a YouTube channel too, don't you?
I do. Ray Collins Media, and the video's on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is so cool. Well, we really appreciate you sharing with us this evening and enlightening us about how we should step it up and be that leader and take some risk and maybe even look at some new stuff that might take ourselves personally as well as our businesses to that next level. Thank you so very, very much for being here this evening, Ray. We're very blessed. Viewers, we certainly appreciate you. You can reach out to Ray. You can email him at Gmail. It's raycollinsmedia@gmail.com or check him out on the web.com. Thank you again. Just a final closing thought for us here.
Oh, just I want to thank you very much for allowing me on, and thank your brother Randy for his work behind the scenes.
Thank you, Ray.
And thank you for the opportunity. It's been an honor to talk to you all. I hope that it reached somebody out there. It helped them make better decisions starting tonight.
Awesome. We want you to make great decisions. We'll help you do that. That's what it's all about, supporting our community, supporting you, helping you to achieve the best possible lifestyle that you can possibly imagine. And anything is possible. All you got to do is think it, take action, and do something about it. Thanks for coming, everybody. We appreciate you. We'll see you on Wednesday. I have a great guest on Wednesday. And now I'm going to blank on a name here. Of course,
that's pretty good.
Local artist. You know, I should have written it down. This is live TV, but okay. So can't think of his name right now. Watch for the post. It's coming. Okay.